The Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Whew. Are you okay, Mike?
I'm recovering.
Are you?
I'm recovering from I got the itis from all that sitting yesterday.
Yeah, well, it's Monday, November 9th. We are the Fantasy Footballers, and we are back again, recapping most of Week 9. We still got the Monday night game. Did you guys have fun yesterday?
Oh man, it was a good day, and I noticed this as I'm going throughout the day of watching all the games and everything.
Oh, did you watch some football yesterday?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
Cool.
A little bit.
Cool. Yeah, I was.
My mood is so heavily influenced by our league of record, where I had a pretty good day yesterday, and I'm gonna win. But it just like throughout the day, I'm noticing it about in the afternoon. I'm like, I guess I got a little pep in my step. I'm like, oh, it's because I'm winning.
Yeah.
And the complete opposite is true, where I just become a curmudgeon and just an angry person, where everything bothers me if like when I see an opposing team member, like the Brandon Cooks touchdown. I was playing against Brandon Cooks,
even though you're going to win.
If there was a level of like my cortisol, it just shoots through the roof.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's why people listen to this show, because fantasy football, we don't want to lose.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say that's why people need psychiatrists.
Oh yeah,
either way. But I mean, check out our other podcasts.
So fear not,
right.
Foot Clan. I get as angry and as upset as you guys do when things don't go your way. I am passionate about winning these games.
So what do you do if you're a person like me, where I have won my week and lost Dion Lewis?
Yeah, you sound like me.
What kind of week do you have then?
That was because
Because 2 weeks ago I won and lost Arian Foster, and I'm getting kind of tired of it.
yeah, you're in some trubs, my friend.
All right, well, in spite of that, we'll get to that, by the way. And I want us, based on when we're recording this podcast right now, we need to keep our eyes on...
I got the news pulled up.
The news, because the MRI for Lewis should be... I bet we get some breaking news here soon. Well, okay, we've got our Fantasy Rewind today. We got our StudMuffins, our Pooped in Their Big Boy Pants section, Monday Night Preview, some Mailbag. We got it all going on right here, right now. It's Monday, and we're in the thick of things in the NFL. And our starts of the week had some pretty good ones. We'll review some of those. If you want to find us, we're on Twitter at the FF Ballers, on the web at thefantasyfootballers.com. Definitely check out jointhefoot.com, our fantasy football community, with almost 1,000 of you listeners in there talking fantasy football. Probably, hopefully, congratulating one another on a win.
Yes.
This week.
Yes.
It was an interesting week because a lot of the big guys did big things, especially at wide receiver. There weren't too many guys that didn't kind of go do what you expect them to do or close to it. But we'll go through all of those. I want to let everybody know I put some Foot Clan shirts up on the site.
Oh,
I don't even know if Mike knew that.
I actually saw the tweet.
Oh, did you?
No one decided to tell me personally.
No,
I found out when everyone else found out.
Yeah. I had a little coffee at night, stayed up late, and I'm like, hey, you know what? People have been wanting some Foot Clan shirts. I'll put those up.
Do work.
Yeah. So took care of business. All right. Quick question for the day, guys. The rest of season: Andrew Luck or Derek Carr?
Oh. Man.
ROS.
Oh,
rest of season.
Hold on, I got to check out some schedules here.
Break down that end of season schedule?
Because I know the Colts have a favorable schedule.
Derek Carr was number 9.
Moving forward.
Was number 9 before this week, and he had a big week.
So
yeah, 4 touchdowns, sitting in the car.
You think so?
No, I'm look. I was just referring to this current week. For me, I'm going to stick with Andrew Luck
because of the playoff matchups: Denver, Green Bay, San Diego.
Yeah, that's not good for Derek Carr to play. I think San Diego should have
a good 4 weeks though. Before that,
yes, for the next several weeks, I would take Carr. But in the playoffs, where it's going to matter, Luck should very much outproduce Carr. Green Bay's secondary that's really hurt should be fine by that point in the season, because they are a good defense despite these last 2 weeks. And same with San Diego losing their safety, they should be back. So
didn't one of us really like Derek Carr in the preseason?
Yeah,
it was not me.
It was,
who was it?
Andy. Didn't one of us pick Derek Carr as our start of the week? Who was that?
I think he's at a 20-4 touchdown to interception ratio on the year. 19-4, 20-4, something like that.
That's like the opposite of Peyton Manning.
Wow.
Close.
I don't know. But I wanted the Raiders lost the game. So there's that.
Well, they may have lost the real life game, but
you want to know why? They made too many mistakes because they're the Raiders.
Yeah, they're getting there.
We know this. We were Cardinal fans. I don't disparage the Raider, Jacksonville, all these down teams. I say these with complete and utter understanding of what you went through. It takes time to move on from what you are.
Yeah, from losing. Okay? When you lose, you know how to lose.
You know how. You write the book on it. And Taiwan Jones fumble on the punt, other fumbles, mistakes. Game was close. Big Ben went out. But, all right, let's go ahead and get into that.
Andrew Luck's schedule is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Atlanta, Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Houston, Miami. Yeah. And then if you're in a Week 17 league, or that you play in the 17th week, Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
ridiculous.
Pretty darn good. Let's go ahead and get into the rewind.
Weekly Rewind.
You like that drop?
I do, very much.
You know who likes it more?
Who?
Mike Evans. Mike Evans enjoyed that drop.
I see what you did
just
there.
A little bit more. All right, let's get into the news. We'll get into that. Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger has a midfoot sprain. We're hearing 1 to 2 weeks.
As of now, that's what we're hearing.
But it's ridiculous because they were worried about Lisfranc, and now I'm hearing it's not a Lisfranc injury. A midfoot sprain as of now. Mike has been one of those Antonio Brown owners just waiting for him to come back. And then every prophecy has been fulfilled about Antonio Brown, who goes out and puts up a stratospheric 300-plus total yards.
No, he almost got to 300.
No, he was above 300 total yards. He had 2 carries in the game. He was 306 total yards.
It's pretty good.
And now Big Ben goes down, and he is, from what I understand, he's been weeping in the corner of his room for quite a while.
Yeah, Mike asked us to allow him to put Antonio Brown on the IR spot while Big Ben is out.
That was funny. Hey, guys, I mentioned it earlier. Dang it. It's Dion Lewis.
Yeah.
Dion Lewis has been injured. If you watch the play, it didn't look good because he just made a cut and then just did that whole fumble while you fly and fall on the ground thing.
Yeah, our buddies,
injury fumble.
Our buddies, the Jocks and Docs, they were breaking down the mechanism of the injury, and they said, that sure looks like an ACL tear. Nothing is confirmed right now. We know what we do know is that the ACL is loose. I don't even know how one knows that their ACL is loose.
First, a report came out. They're hoping it's an MCL sprain. Then a report comes out. The ACL is loose, but there's no swelling. But swelling doesn't happen on these injuries until overnight, so we don't know anything. They'll get the MRI. The dude was crying while he walked off the field.
I'm not expecting good news.
No. All right. Eddie Lacy exited week... Okay, hold on. Let me go back. That's ridiculous that I moved on. Dion Lewis, if he's out, what is the... Do you sign Bolden or James White? Because I honestly don't think I know who would play week to week. James White had been the guy when Lewis was out before. Amendola is really the guy that ends up stepping up in the absence. But then Bolden had a touchdown and played good yesterday. Help me.
Yeah, that's tough. I would go LeGarrette Blount. I think
he's owned.
No, I know. I'm just saying I think he's the one that gets the biggest benefit. Him and Amendola. Those two guys are the guys that I think get a bump up in their production. And you can run after, I would say it would be White. That would be my guess. That's the best I can offer as a guess. But I don't know that White's going to be able to produce anything near what Dion Lewis produced. A lot of what you saw Dion Lewis do.
And if he makes one mistake, he won't play again.
Yeah,
he's not the same player. So here's my question. If LeGarrette Blount is in fact the beneficiary to this, what does this do to Tom Brady's video game fantasy scores? Because I
don't agree that he would be the beneficiary.
So who do you think it is?
I think that it will be a rotation of those two backs in Amendola, and it hurts Brady. Overall, it hurts Brady because the screen game had become just like another edge to the sword, so to speak, right? Where he just was...
It's a triple-edged sword.
He was carving up...
Triangle sword.
There was Edelman, and there was Gronk, and there was now LaFell back, and Lewis was taking... He could take a screen that looked like it was getting nothing and get Brady 10, 20, 30 yards. And it stinks. It stinks for them. It stinks for Lewis, who had recovered from injuries and finally was part of a good team, but we're moving on. We'll have to see what happens on the report. And if we find out during the show today, I'll let you know with a depressed voice. All right. Chargers tight end Ladarius Green listed as doubtful tonight. I don't expect him to play. Gates should be in there. Matt Forte and Eddie Royal have been ruled out. Is Marquise Wilson if he had to?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, to me. Big guy. He's stepped up in the past when he's gotten the opportunity.
Yeah, with Royal out and the points that are going to fly around tonight, Vegas has it as a high-scoring game. Definitely think he's playable, streamable.
Eddie Lacy exited with a groin injury and an injury to his pride.
Oh, say that it was his groin?
Yes, his pride and groin are identical. He was basically phased out of the whole game. He fumbled. He did nothing. Starks put up a good game. Official bust.
Yeah. At this point, you have to call it an official bust. And so we're back to this game of James Starks. Is he the guy?
Probably.
Yeah. But
I wouldn't feel super great about it. It's not like one of those situations. It's not a D-Will situation.
Oh, no. Well, no, of course not. But I think you can feel pretty confident. James Starks, and he looks good in the screen game.
Yeah, he does. And they need pass catchers right now. They're still not getting the separation they need. I read a stat this morning that the Packers are converting like 34% of their third downs.
Oh,
and they were 47% last year.
It's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, I mean, in the land of the concussed, Teddy Bridgewater, Latavius Murray both went out with a concussion.
Man,
Teddy Bridgewater went out. He went to sleep.
That was ridiculous.
It's a terrible, terrible play. Bush League crap. Really?
Yeah.
I mean, just
really.
Disgusting Bush League crap.
Really? I watched it and I didn't think it was it certainly was not as Bush League as the eye gouge.
Oh, yes. That's on a different level. That's on a different level.
We could talk about the eye gouge.
Mean, I see quarterbacks slide all the time and get hit on their slide. Every game it happens a little bit. And that one was like the elbow came, I don't know. Was it an illegal hit?
Why don't you ask Mike Zimmer what he thinks about the play?
Oh, I know. I saw that. He said he was going to fight.
He's going to go full Street Fighter on him.
He looked like he was going to...
Hadouken!
You ever see...
honestly,
you seen Inside Out with the kids?
Yes.
Well, he looked like anger.
I think that while I appreciate the fact that he's standing up for his players and basically telling his players, hey, I got your back. I would fight for you. That to me was like a childish... Like, would you ever imagine Bill Belichick doing that?
Pro-concussion, Jason Moore. Pro-concussion. You're for concussion.
I love Latavius Murray.
Right. LaShawn McCoy, shoulder injury. Mike, what's the latest?
It's, according to LaShawn McCoy, he could have gone back in the game, but the Bills had a comfortable lead. Karlos Williams was looking good already, so there was no reason for the Bills to reinsert him. They do have a game on Thursday night. Apparently, Shady McCoy will still be getting an MRI on the shoulder, so we're awaiting news on that. What? There's a finger up.
No, you're good. I had one more thing I want to add before we move on.
And so I think that he's going to play, but if we're going to do a sneak peek.
Yeah, it's called a sneak peek
of waivers. Karlos Williams is going to be pretty hot on that list.
I just wanted to add one other injury. Nick Mangold re-aggravated his neck injury, which is very significant. That the Jets' offensive line, Ivory's numbers are an illusion because he scored 2 touchdowns, but he's averaging about 1 yard per carry when the offensive line's been hurt. And now Nick Mangold Thursday night. Monitor that. It's not like you're sitting Ivory, but it might be bad with no Mangold. 3 games in a row, Ivory's done nothing, and then they play the Bills. So, it's kind of the rivalry game. I think Rex Ryan wants to stop the Jets just a little.
Maybe.
All right, we can move on.
Okay, well, before we get into our fantasy stud muffins, there's still football to be played this season. There's still football to be seen, and we want to thank our sponsor, SeatGeek. Hey, maybe you're in San Diego tonight and you want to go to the Monday Night Football game. Here's what you do. You get the SeatGeek app, and they are the best place to get your tickets. They take tickets from over 100 different sources, so you know that if there's a ticket for sale at that game, you can find it on SeatGeek. They show you in their app this thing called the deal score. It is very easy to just look there and go, that's the best price ticket in this section, that's the best price ticket in that section, and it's so fast and easy on their free app. You don't have to do CAPTCHAs and all that nonsense. So here's what you do. You can get a $20 off, $20 rebate after your first purchase. Download the free SeatGeek app today and enter our promo code FOOTBALLERS in the app. SeatGeek will send you $20 once you've made your first purchase, and every ticket purchased on SeatGeek is backed by a 100% guarantee. So download the free SeatGeek app and enter promo code FOOTBALLERS today.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about the StudMuffins.
This week's Fantasy StudMuffins.
All right, this is the part of the show where we go through the guys that, they got it done in fantasy football this week, and we want to know if they're going to keep getting it done or not. Cam Newton. Cam Newton is good.
That was, I'm
good.
I am admittedly one of the Cam Newton skeptics, and that was one of the best games I've ever seen Cam Newton play. He looked great for the most part.
And they won. They're undefeated. They're 8-0. Cam Newton was 15 for 297, 3 touchdowns, 57 rushing yards, a rushing touchdown. He knew when to run. He knew when to throw. They still almost pulled what they did last week, where they almost gave the game away, but they didn't. And that's all that matters at the end of the day.
If Cam Newton could just fix his mechanics and throw...
I don't know that he needs to. I mean, you could say the same thing about Phillip Rivers, right? If Phillip Rivers would just fix his mechanics...
I don't think Phillip Rivers' mechanics are broken.
Yeah, he just
looks
his
throwing style.
I'm talking about his
sidearm.
If you said Matthew Stafford,
yes,
you could tell me his mechanics are broken.
I'm talking about feet, where if he would just plant his feet and not throw falling backwards every single time, which...
He can now, but he might not be able to in 5 or 10 years.
That's my point. And you still see it throughout the game of passes that are not just like slightly inaccurate. He completely misses, and it's because he throws the way he throws. If he would just get that going, then man, he could be so good.
Did you guys see Funchess flash in this game?
Yeah, a little bit.
Got a touchdown?
A little bit.
He's an ascending kind of waiver guy that we'll talk about tomorrow, in my opinion. Marcus Mariota. Number one quarterback for the week, 28 for 371, 4 touchdowns, including an accidental touchdown to Delanie Walker.
Which was awesome.
They still count. So you imagine being like a Mariota Walker stack owner in that game, and then you're like, oh,
you watch that play.
And you're like, oh my gosh, that's great.
If you don't know what we're talking about, Mariota basically threw it to the other team wide open.
Two of them.
Like you're playing catch. But the two guys on the defense couldn't decide. It was like playing 500, and they were both going after.
That's what it was. It was a game of 500.
500! And then they couldn't catch the ball, so they run into each other, pop the thing up like it's a Three Stooges bit, right into Delanie Walker's hands, who just continues to
somehow outruns 2 much smaller, faster people down the sideline. I can't imagine. I want the zoom in camera on Rob Ryan for the play. Because I want to see him go from just... white hair flopping joy to absolute unadulterated terror.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Why do you hate Rob Ryan so much?
Ask Sean Payton the same question.
Well, he keeps him employed. You can't hate him.
He keeps who employed? Oh, they hate each other. They hate each other. And their defense is terrible. But anyway, Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees had big games this week. Rodgers had 4 touchdowns. He could have had a 5th at the end of the game. He's kind of, it's nice to see that from your stud, right?
Yes, finally.
And what else is, Brees was 28 for 387 and 3 touchdowns. He also ran one in.
Yep.
So he had 4 touchdown game as well. And Derek Carr.
Derek Carr.
How do you not hit the button?
Because, I don't know.
I know,
we're not sending in the car. We're just talking about the car.
We sent in the car. Yeah.
Okay, at this point, I feel pressure.
Yeah.
Send in the car. Send in the car.
If you were listening,
things can be selectively funny. You don't have to play them every single time.
Well, I disagree at this moment.
Honk, honk.
If you were, if you're one of our patrons out there and you were over at Join the Foot and you listened to our special Thursday Mailbag show that we do over on Patreon, you heard us play that drop about 700 times. It almost annoyed me. We did it so many times because the questions kept being asked, this guy or that guy, and it was always Derek Carr, and I'm happy that he came through for the Foot Clan.
All right, wide receivers that stepped up. Antonio Brown, he's a wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And we didn't mention this during the Big Ben injury, but as the information we have right now, supposedly it's just a kind of like a 2-week injury. Luckily for the Steelers, they play the Browns this week, and then they're off. So maybe this was
low impact.
Was a low impact, kind of the best time for this to happen type of situation if Big Ben is in fact back in 3 weeks, which remains to be seen. But so don't panic if you're an Antonio Brown owner.
Yeah, and you're probably, he racked up. What he did is he said, I might not put up big numbers the next couple of weeks. So let's work those weeks into this week.
Let's win a week.
17 for 284. What else is there to say than that? I thought he would have 300 passing yards when it hit halftime. I really did think he was going to get to 300. I'm sorry, receiving yards. Michael Crabtree, 7 for 108 and 2 touchdowns.
Crabtree.
Kicking butt.
Yes.
Kicking butt. That offense has balance between those two wide receivers where Cooper because Cooper had a good week too. People asked, who do I start between them? The numbers on the season said Cooper at the moment. Now they're probably going to be right about the same.
Yeah, well, the big plays had said Cooper. The targets were still Crabtree.
Right.
So this isn't like, what? Michael Crabtree? No, he's getting the targets.
I watched this game really closely. Sammy Watkins had a huge one, 8 for 100 and a touchdown.
This was a surprising one for me, just based off, not his skill.
No, I get it.
But based off of
injury,
how bad his injury was. There was, in the middle of the week, there was the reports that he was off the side because he completely re-aggravated his ankle, and everything was sounding doom and gloom. Coming into Sunday, it was, he's going to be on a snap limit because his ankle is so bad. And then, kaboom!
Sammy Watkins. He actually had 168.
Yeah, I was going to say
yards.
That looked wrong.
I think what happened is he caught 100% of his passes, which is absolutely true. I actually put Robert Woods in my lineup on Friday. Took Sammy Watkins out and put Robert Woods in my lineup on Friday when that report came out that Watkins.
How'd that work out for you?
Sunday morning I put Watkins back in, and it worked out just fine.
So Watkins, if you watched the film in this game, he was manhandling the DBs, and they took shots with him because Taylor's got a good arm for that. Both of his big yardage plays, there was a long 44-yard touchdown pass, there was a long bomb down the left-hand side of the field. One, he got off press coverage and destroyed the guy. The other one, he just straight burned him and put up a Randy Moss hand and said, throw me the ball. And they did. And they should.
Yeah. The touchdown pass from Tyrod Taylor was incredible.
It was perfect.
And I made this comparison to you guys yesterday. Tyrod Taylor is last year's Tony Romo, where he's so efficient. I mean, he's
with his production.
Yeah, he's completing over 71% of his passes. He has one of the highest YPAs in the league. But the problem with him is you're going to get these games where he only has to throw the ball 12 times, and you don't get the touchdowns because Shady McCoy busted off the 50-yard touchdown. And if you had Romo last year, that you had these games intermittently where he was still good, but you were disappointed because he wasn't putting up just massive numbers.
Jason, Sammy Watkins moving forward is a wide receiver.
I would say a wide receiver 1. I think
a 1.
I do. I think he's
bold move.
Yeah, a wide receiver 2 to me is safe. I actually think that as he develops that that connection with Tyrod Taylor,
Michael Crabtree or Sammy Watkins.
Ooh, I'm gonna go Sammy Watkins.
Wow.
Here's why: talent alone. Sammy Watkins, we forget how good he was. He was in the best wide receiver draft class of all time, and he was taken first because he is a Hall of Fame level talent. He has been injured week in, week out.
Bold words.
That's part of the problem. He's always hurt.
Yes, and I agree with that. If he continues to be hurt, obviously that's. But he had a bum ankle. He's saying the truth, which is if you target me, I will produce, and they saw that. So I think going forward, they will continue to target him. Percy Harvin is now out. So they're saying, where are we going to go? It's going to be Sammy Watkins. With Crabtree, you've got to really compete for that. And the only competition is really Charles Clay and Robert Lewis.
It certainly was not Charles Clay yesterday.
We got to move down. We got to move on. Alan Hurns did good. Okay, Julio Jones.
Who was that?
No, I was just kidding. Alan Hurns had another monster game.
Yes.
He is the Michael Crabtree of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
He certainly is.
Is that 7 games in a row?
He's been very, very good. Because he didn't score the game before, I don't think. 5 for 122.
Because it was his bye week.
Well, told you. 5 for 122 and a touchdown. Alan Hurns is an every week start without question.
At this point,
it's 6 games in a row. He's had a touchdown.
And Allen Robinson took care of business. I was worried.
Smoked.
I was worried about Revis, and Robinson was fine. So
okay, so Julio 10 for 137. Is that right?
I will double check that.
I don't know if that's the right number or not.
Yep, 10 for 137.
10 for 137. The Falcons are looking mighty fraudulent. They have, in the last 4 weeks, they've lost 3 games to bad opponents, and then they beat Tennessee by 3.
That's not good.
Not good. Mike Evans, my start of the week, 8 for 152, 6 drops. The most drops by a wide receiver in a game in 10 years.
And they were bad drops.
And so he is simultaneously a stud muffin and a pooped in his big boy pants. Because 8 for 152 with 6 drops?
His drops were
he could have had 250 yards.
We'll tweet out the repeating GIF of his 6 drops. It is delightful and entertaining to just watch him.
Not if you're a Tampa Bay fan.
Volleyball this ball.
They could have won that game.
Over.
The score of that game, was the result of a defensive touchdown at the end of the game. The game was close, and they couldn't get it done because Mike Evans dropped 6 passes.
He would have had 250 yards.
And a touchdown.
Yeah.
So, here's a surprise. Cole Beasley, 9 for 112 and 2 touchdowns. He was the man last night in their riveting 6th straight loss. Cole Beasley, is he a waiver consideration?
Sure. He's one of those.
The correct answer was no.
No. He's one of that pack of those when you're searching for a receiver and you know he can do it. He's probably closer to the bottom of that barrel. Right. But when you're just desperate and you throw a guy out Cole Beasley's one of those guys.
Jordan Matthews, 9 for 133
Jordan
and a
Matthews!
Touchdown.
Hooray!
Is this going to propel him to superstardom?
Maybe not superstardom, but he looked a lot better. With his catching.
When he was running into the end zone?
No, not even that play. But he made a couple tough catches that he had been dropping.
I agree with you. So he's in the wide receiver 3 mix,
and that's fine. To me, he's moving up because the drops to me were mental.
Yeah.
So mental as in like a hip,
I make
word.
players in week 9, I make them show me it more than one time in the entire season.
That's perfectly
fine. We'll
see.
The jury's out for me. Jason, do you have any thoughts on Matthews?
I love how many targets he gets and his opportunity. I'm fine playing him because his floor should be high.
All right, big running backs this week. StudMuffins, Deangelo Williams, ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I had a couple.
27, 170, 2 touchdowns, 2 for 55 through the air. Monster.
I heard some people that were saying this was before their waivers went through, like, man, I was planning on putting 50 waiver fab, but after listening to your show, I feel like I got to spend it all. I got to spend all 87, and they did, and they got him, and they're happy. Because he's really good.
Even let's say Deangelo Williams does nothing for the rest of the year. Deangelo Williams got you a victory on his own.
Yeah.
Yesterday,
and it was impressive. Total yards through the roof. He's the man.
And when I say that, he's going to continue to be great. He has the Browns next week. Well,
I got a tweet or a message.
The Browns.
Well, yeah, and somebody said, here's what they said. They said, do you just go trade D-Will on the heels of that and his monster game and go get a king's ransom for him?
What's the ransom?
No.
Correct.
I don't. I keep Deangelo Williams, and then I play him because that offense is too good, and it was just set up for Lev Bell, and you're going to get similar production from D-Will because no one else is rotating in.
It's so funny. We've got a guy in our league of record whose team was not very good after the draft, right? And I always said you don't win championships as a draft. He now has Deangelo Williams, and Devonta Freeman. I mean, and it's like, can you get a much better combo than those two guys who, before the year, if we were to say, oh, you're starting running backs, D. Will and Devonta Freeman, like, what's happening?
Yeah, you would have. I mean, both of those guys are baseline high boom.
Yeah.
And we saw this because Devonta Freeman almost pooped in his big boy pants. I don't know if you saw his rushing line.
Yeah, it was not good. It was like 12 for 12.
12 for 12.
That's like Chris Ivory.
Oh.
Chris Ivory is annoying me, if you didn't notice.
I could tell.
And he came out last week and he called the offensive line out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's really going to help.
It's time to look in the mirror, Chris Ivory.
It's both. It's always both. Lamar Miller, 12 for 44, 2 touchdowns, 7 for 97 through the air, where he ate
huge game.
Filled up.
Quick question.
To continue.
Quick question. Lamar Miller is right now ranked what running back?
Before this week?
No, after this week, including this week.
An RB1.
No. What number?
4? 5?
3.
It's got to be really high.
After this week?
After this week, he is the number 3 running back.
He's had like 2 40-point weeks now.
Yeah.
In a row.
I love it.
Not in a row, but
that just
within
doesn't
3
seem
weeks.
Devonta
right.
Freeman, Mark Ingram, Lamar Miller.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. Thank you. He's pointing out
letting people know.
Another guy that he has on his team. Karlos Williams, 9 for 110, 2 touchdowns. Karlos Williams doing what Karlos Williams does.
He's good.
Big yard touchdowns. Are you secretly hoping LaShawn McCoy sits on Thursday?
I am. I think LaShawn McCoy should go to the spa, get a mani pedi, get a full body massage. Let that shoulder really heal up, and let me play Karlos Williams
Till he gets concussed again.
Hey, that was one
he
time.
Won't. All right, DeMarco Murray is an RB1, my friends. 18 for 81 and a touchdown, 6 for 78 through the air. The workload is there. That doesn't mean Ryan Matthews wasn't more efficient with his carries, but you can be very confident with DeMarco Murray moving forward.
Yeah.
Yep.
Adrian Peterson, 29 for 125 and a touchdown. They just lean on him so much. He's the league leader in rushing now, and it should continue.
Yeah, we'll continue like his fumbling. This is old school Adrian Peterson this year.
Yeah.
They still won.
Yeah, they won. LeGarrette Blount, 29 carries, career high, 129 and a touchdown. Obviously, Dion Lewis went out in this game, so Blount should be a good start with the occasional game that they probably avoid him completely for some reason.
It's so frustrating to have a Patriots back like that. I mean, you've got a guy that I think every game could put up a line of 25, 101.
He did look good.
But they just choose... Yes, I agree with that. He doesn't. He's gotten some unfair, slack on that. He's not a good player. And I watched some of those runs, and he got yards that not every back would have got. So props to you, LeGarrette Blount.
And apologies to Christopher Harris. James Starks, 10 for 39, 6 for 83, and a touchdown through the air. Like Mike said, the screen game. Is he the guy that... Could you start him?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
We had some big games from tight ends. Delanie Walker.
Huge game.
7 for 95 and 2 touchdowns. This is my start of the week, guys.
Yeah.
Pretty good. He was the number 1
There
tight
was just, and it was inevitable. It really was. I mean, it wasn't, I'm not a genius. It's just Kendall Wright was out and Mariota was back and they got to throw the ball to somebody and nobody wants to throw it to Justin Hunter. Nobody wants to do that.
Hey, Justin Hunter got a touchdown.
I know. But Delanie Walker had a huge week. Tyler Eifert, 3 touchdowns. Yeah. We talked about it at the Thursday night game. Owen Daniels said...
This one's my favorite.
Owen Daniels said, hey, Vernon Davis, you ever seen these moves?
Honestly, Owen Daniels looked like a different player this week. All of a sudden, Vernon Davis gets traded for, and Owen Daniels is like, oh, I got to give it my all.
He looked the same to me.
Even the commentators were like, he looks faster this week.
It's like... When you're putting up production, you always look faster.
Yeah, Vernon played 9 snaps for everybody that went and grabbed him. We said it would probably take some time, and it's going to take some time. He ran a fly down the sideline that I thought was going to be a touchdown until he didn't put his arms up to catch it, which was strange to me because most of the time, I mean, I've played a little football. I always put my arms up to catch it.
Yeah.
Richard Rodgers, 5 for 19, but 2 touchdowns. Good luck starting him moving forward. You're never going to know, but there's a lot of tight ends in that category where you're kind of counting on a touchdown to make or break your day. So I guess a guy with Aaron Rodgers is okay?
Absolutely.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about some guys that disappointed.
pooped in his big boy pants?
So I don't know who pooped in their big boy pants at the quarterback position this week.
Well, there's some.
Is there anybody?
There's metaphorical big.
Yeah,
big boy.
I felt
Tom Brady had the worst game of the year, his year, and he got like 25 fantasy points.
Yeah. Peyton Manning, he not from a fantasy perspective, but that just stinks. You can break the record in Indianapolis, and he gets 3 yards. 3 yards to the all-time record. They had guys there ready to celebrate. They had all the video queued up, and it just never happened.
Well, it would have happened, but he threw an interception.
It would have happened without the eye gouge, too.
He went modern day Peyton Manning and threw the pick.
Yeah, but he wasn't a pooped. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns.
I'm just simply saying.
So
I felt like we have to talk about that sadness because that's a historic thing. I was watching with my son on my lap, like, you got to see this. Come here, sit down. He's going to break the all-time record.
Let me tell you a tale.
Were you really?
Yeah, and then it was a waste of time. Thanks, Peyton.
And the Rams, my goodness, the Rams, if they could get a quarterback not named Nick Foles, they could be really, really good.
That's pooped in your little boy pants.
Yeah, but whenever there's a moment where I can take a pot shot at Nick Foles, I'm going to take it.
I would say Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is pretty close because from a perspective of he's playing San Francisco, people thought you should start him this week.
Yes.
And he goes out and he puts up 1 touchdown. Not a good week. Down in the low teens, 20 range as a quarterback. I mean, when Blaine Gabbert is basically putting up the same numbers as you.
I have no clue why the Falcons weren't just saying going the Antonio Brown approach with Julio this game, which they've done in the past. Just let's go to Julio and see what he can do against the secondary of the 49ers, which is just brutal.
Eli Manning disappointed a lot of people. He was the 21st ranked quarterback this week after the big week the week before. I know for me, I started him over Cam Newton.
Yeah, I was expecting big things from Eli.
And Ryan Tannehill stunk again. He only had no touchdowns and 1 fumble. So, not a good week.
Well, at least he had that fumble.
Yep. All right, running backs. Doug Martin, where did you go, my man?
Oh, we know where he went because Lovie Smith, in his infinite wisdom, said,
to the bench with you.
Yeah, you're one of my best offensive players right now. You made a single mistake. Big mistake. But a single mistake. Get to the bench, you bum. That'll teach him.
Sims, get in here. Uh-oh. Then Sims fumbled the ball in the rain, in this rainy world where Mike Evans can't catch anything and your 2 starting running backs can't hold on to the ball. So, hey, Bobby Rainey.
Go catch this punt, Bobby Rainey. Fumble. It was the trifecta of running back fumbles.
Yeah, which is actually good news for Doug Martin going forward.
It's just so stupid.
And he hasn't been efficient for a couple weeks either.
I understand that, but I don't know. One fumble.
More fantasy focus. Moving forward with Doug Martin, he's had 2 kind of low weeks after being near the top of the running back charts. 11 for 31 in this game, 2 for 12 in the fumble. Doug Martin moving forward, are you okay? I mean, are you very confident with him as a 1?
Maybe a 2. I mean, he's really splitting with Sims.
He's got Dallas, Philadelphia, and Indianapolis the next 3 games.
I like the Indianapolis game, but I'm not feeling Dallas or Philadelphia. Definitely not
Indianapolis
as an RB1.
defense played pretty darn good yesterday. So it's hard to see. Martin having big weeks the next couple of weeks. Eddie Lacy, we know he had a horrible game. He actually got negative points in a lot of leagues because of the fumble. He's not startable.
Nope.
And then Ronnie Hillman was questionable to play this whole week. They activated him, and then if you activated him, you were disappointed.
So he was questionable to play, and then his play was questionable.
Yes, that is correct.
That's what you're telling me?
That is correct. He had, I believe, 0.8 points in our league. So he was basically not on the field. Anderson looked better than he did.
Yeah,
I don't know.
C.J. Anderson, let's get it going.
I have no clue what to do with. They can't run the ball. That's part of their offensive problems. And very similar to what Stafford faced. Stafford's interceptions go up, efficiency goes down, can't run the ball, offense predicated on the run. It's not good. They finally lost, too.
I just wanted another C.J. Anderson hype train to get going.
Yeah, of course. Hey, do you see Christine Michael got exactly 0 carries?
Yep.
Yeah, all right. Wide receivers that stunk. There weren't a lot. Dante Moncrief was 3 for 30, and that qualifies as a horrible pooped your pants if you were starting him, which I believe you guys both would have started him.
Absolutely.
A.J. Green and Demaryius Thomas both were, below average games. Both put up about 7 points. Did I said their names right? A.J. Green and Demaryius Thomas?
Yep.
This was a Sanders game. That is the one thing that seems to happen right now. That when an offense isn't that efficient, you don't get the Crabtree, Cooper, both good combo. You don't get the Hurns, Robinson combo. You kind of get one.
And we didn't talk about this guy for having a monster game, but T.Y. Hilton, what?
Yeah, what was all that foot problem talk? All of a sudden, his foot looked fine when he was running lightning speed.
Well, you ever got an injection before?
There's some tricks they can do to make your foot feel better, but it just was all week of gloom and doom. MRI. T.Y. Hilton's foot is terrible. He's going against the best defense in the league. And T.Y. Hilton said, hey, I'm finally going to have a good game here. Not finally. He's been good all year.
Stefon Diggs.
Yeah.
I was worried about him because it was the Rams.
Yeah.
All week. Everybody who asked me him as a flex option, I was not recommending Diggs because it's just a tough matchup. He still was 3 for 42. Mike, you said he almost had a big touchdown?
Yes. I can't remember the DB, but the DB just stole it from him like it was his milk money. Diggs almost had a huge game right there.
Yeah. So he also jumped on one of the fumbles from Adrian Peterson and saved the game for the team, and you will get no points for that in your fantasy leagues. But good contribution. All right, tight ends that did not perform. Charles Clay has disappeared.
Yeah, what happened here, Charles?
1 for 6. Jordan Cameron has never appeared. 1 for 6. And Gary Barnidge had the bad week on Thursday night with the 2 for 35. So moving forward, Barnidge, we're okay starting?
Absolutely.
Charles Clay, we'd rather start somebody else?
At this point, you have to, man. It's weird how involved he was in the offense and to nothing now. I mean, that's multiple weeks of one catch.
All right, so we have the Monday night game tonight. The Bears and Chargers are facing off. Let me ask you this. In our league of record, we have one guy who is down by 6 points, and he has Jay Cutler. And the other guy has
He's only down by 6?
He has Martellus Bennett and Jeremy Langford. What are the odds that Cutler can overcome those by 6?
So he's got to outscore Langford and Bennett.
By 6 with Cutler.
So it's got to be all Alshon Jeffrey.
Right.
Or Wilson.
Or Marcus Wilson or, yeah.
I put it at a 35% chance. I think I think he can do it, but the odds are not ever in his favor.
I agree with Jason. I would go a little bit lower, maybe around 20. But Alshon Jeffrey's the man, and Alshon Jeffrey's going to eat tonight.
So you're starting Rivers. You like Stevie, or do you like Malcolm Floyd?
I like Stevie as in...
or do you like both?
I do like both. I like both in this game. And people have asked, well, I don't get the Stevie Johnson love. The Stevie Johnson, it's a bit of a putting pieces together, but Keenan Allen's gone for the year. We know this. We believe that Stevie Johnson will slide into that role for the offense. At the beginning of the year, Phillip Rivers was comparing Keenan Allen and Stevie Johnson, saying these guys are all basically interchangeable for me. And if a quarterback feels strongly about it and Stevie Johnson's taking that position, then of course I'm going to like Stevie Johnson better because you always you would want Keenan Allen over Malcolm Floyd weekly. So that's where I lean to Stevie Johnson, but I still like Floyd in a game with a beatable secondary.
And you got to remember, Stevie Johnson is coming off of an injury. He was coming off an injury before the Allen. First week of the season, he was 6 for 82 and a touchdown. Second week of the season, he was 5 for 45 and a touchdown. Like he has performed this year. This is not just a guy coming into that role. This is a guy who has done it a little bit.
And that was a guy who was not getting Keenan Allen's targets,
right?
Yeah.
Which I expect him to get around double-digit targets.
All right, we're going to take a couple minutes and hit the mailbag, answer some questions from the listeners.
Mailbag.
Yeah. All right, if you got a question of your own, you can go to the website, thefantasyfootballers.com, and click on the Submit a Question button. Send us your question. We try to answer a few of them on the show as often as we can. You can also find us on Twitter at the FF Ballers. All right, Jared in Los Angeles is an Antonio Brown owner. Big Ben is hurt again. What do I do with Brown? There's no better person to answer this question than Mike Wright, the Antonio Brown owner, amongst us three.
The good news is that Michael Vick will not be playing quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It will be Jarvis. Why do I always do that every time, too? Oh, it's going to be Landry Jones. And Landry showed that...
Jarvis Landry Jones. That's his name.
Jarvis
Landry Jones.
Jarvis Landry Jones.
He has shown that he can get the ball to his playmakers. Antonio Brown had that over 100-yard game with Jones as the quarterback. It's against the Browns, and the Browns are in really bad condition on their defense. So I feel perfectly fine starting him this week. If the news breaks that Big Ben is now out longer, which is it's still possible that could happen, then there could be an issue. But at least for the next 2 weeks, you're okay because it's a good matchup, and then he's not playing.
Landry Jones, unlike Michael Vick, is a young guy who I feel like Antonio Brown, if he came over to him and says, listen, you're going to throw me the ball. He'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
And it would be the right decision because if you want to succeed, you should probably throw it to probably the best pure wide receiver in football or in the top 5.
And Jones gets the ball to Martavis as well. Jones has 3 touchdowns on the year. All 3 have gone to Martavis Bryant.
Jason, Andy Hoffman in Tampa, Florida wants to know, would you rather have Giovanni Bernard or James Starks moving forward? Both guys look like a 1A in a system with 2 RB1s competing for the top spot. Who do you put your faith in moving forward, Jason?
That's tough. It really comes down to who you put more faith in of Jeremy Hill and Eddie Lacy. And I think at this point right now, there's just no way you could put faith in Eddie Lacy. So I think I'd rather have Starks. Because right now, coming up this week, I would rather start Starks than Gio personally, but that is volatile. So if you need somebody for the long term, if you're looking, for this week, I would take Starks. For the long term, Gio at least has his role carved out. Gio will touch the ball, and it's not like all of a sudden Hill's going to come and take everything.
Would you argue then that Starks has the highest upside if you're deciding there?
Yes.
Because you know what Gio's role is, but Starks' role could be complete RB1 if the groin injury isn't better, if Lacy can't get back on the field.
Exactly. Higher floor is Gio, higher ceiling is Starks.
All righty. Let's see here. Rest of season for Taylor. He says, hello. It's been a while.
Hey.
Been a while.
Hey.
No, there's no hey. He was inactive.
Hey.
Oh, my gosh. Rest of season, Frank Gore or Chris Ivory, Mike?
Frank Gore.
Yeah, it's got to be Gore.
The tables turn so quickly.
It's got to be Gore. I wanted that quote out there in the world.
That's not even close.
I know.
You got to have at least rhyme.
I appreciated it.
I don't know why it's in my head. It's Monday morning. Come on.
There's nothing wrong with it. That's a fantastic song.
How many carries?
That's a great top 40 hit.
Frank Gore got what, like 29 carries?
28 carries, something like that.
And he looked strong and good. And Ahmad Bradshaw is
strong and good. He was.
Ahmad Bradshaw is going to siphon some touchdowns. I do think Ivory will get it going back together. Nick Mangold is a huge part of that offense. Good friend of the show, Nick Mangold.
That's true. He came on the show.
So as of now, it's Gore because the Colts seem to be getting the offense figured out. They have a what you might consider an easy schedule moving forward. So I'm going with Gore.
Yeah, they're going to take care of business when it comes to the rest of the division. I think they're going to take care of it.
Man, what a horrible division.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. So, hey, quick update for everybody. Because, I know you're just waiting with bated breath to find out what my 1-4 comeback team is doing. I won again. I'm 5-4. So
you're 5-4.
I was 1-4. I'm 5-4.
You've been withstanding a lot of victories and withstanding losses as well, right?
Arian Foster, I lost him. Lost Dion Lewis now, which is just sucks. That's all there is to it. That's fantasy football. And this season has been especially cruel to owners. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
In terms of Charles, Lev Bell, a lot of Charles, Lev Bell, Arian Foster, Matt Forte, Dion Lewis, those 5 RB1s that you don't get to control that situation whatsoever.
In something that's
why Lamar Miller, by the way, is the number 4 or 3 or whatever you said. Everyone else is gone.
Yeah.
What happened to C.J. Spiller?
9 snaps.
6 snaps.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
6. So even worse. That's just a crazy situation that I thought needed to be mentioned.
Yeah,
real
it's
quick.
gross. So hey, we'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's the big waiver wire show. We'll be recapping the Monday night game and getting you ready to sign those crucial additions for your playoff run. You want the playoff run?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're getting close here. I mean, we're almost into week 10, so we got that tomorrow. We'll do some mailbag, and we'll have everything you need to know. Hey, if you want to help the show out, there's a few ways you can do that. Check out jointhefoot.com. Leave us a review on iTunes. We always appreciate those reviews. Some of these coming through are laugh out loud hilarious. I mean, I just crack up when I read some of them. And also, I know you don't want to tell your league mates about us, but tell somebody who's not in your league about the show. Let them know that they can subscribe and get inside information and win their league. So you guys got any parting thoughts?
The Wheel of Water videos
those are great.
Fantastic. If you haven't got your Wheel of Water app yet to pay out your bets, go do it. It's free on the iTunes App Store.
Yep.
Goodbye.
That's fun. Good time.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast.
Strong and good.
Don't forget to visit us on the web at www.thefantasyfootballers.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.